Would you like to have a career in racing, and if so, what would you like to do, Dale?
Well, I want to be a race car driver someday. That's, it's all I've ever known, racing.
What did you want to be when you grew up? So many people live a life of what if. Go to school, go to college, get a 9-to-5. This is how we support our dreams, with a safety net. Because we're unsure about taking a leap of faith. Because we're afraid. As we grow, we cross things off our list of dreams. We cut them down, make them realistic. Having control of things is reassuring. But for some, the rush of being out of control is what gives them life. Some say racing cars is reckless. Maybe they're right. Out of bounds isn't just cheating, it's cheating death. Football fields made up in seconds. Decisions made in instants. For the people that climb behind the wheel of these cars, they're not driving it. They become part of it. It's an extension of the body. As a child, I looked up to these people, faces hidden by helmets. The less you saw of the driver, the more believable it became that they were, in fact, just part of the machine. It's easy to forget that inside the cockpit is someone just like us, but with the mindset that fear is a motivation, not a barrier. But the reality is, race car drivers are not like us. They never cross anything off their list of dreams. They just keep writing more. Daytona.
This is the finish of the Daytona 500. Side by side.
Le Mans. Indianapolis. Monaco. Places that used to be just places, now international symbols of victory. To those that enjoy the spectacle of racing, the 2 feet of concrete and steel cables are a wall between us and them, between sitting in the grandstands and standing in victory lane. These same walls are a stark, immovable reminder that racing drivers put their lives on the line for the sake of the thrill and entertainment. Despite the risk, despite the heartbreak,
Oh my gosh!
despite the cost. There are some on the sidelines who are fascinated by the danger. They are fascinated by speed, fascinated by the undying desire to be just a little bit better. Their dreams, erased by geography, finances, or the lack of a famous last name. There are some who once wished to be a race car driver, but aren't, because they didn't get the chance. And they thought they'd spend the rest of their lives watching their heroes on television, or from the other side of the fence. They thought it was impossible to climb into a race car, so they crossed it off their list. But it's not impossible. There is a ticket to the other side of the fence. For those who want it bad enough, this is your chance. Winter is waning, and so is the virtual racing here in the Grid Life iRacers Sports Car Sprint. We're about to pull the covers off the cars one last time for the winter before the real covers come off the real cars for the spring. We're over in Germany this week at the Nurburgring Grand Prix circuit. My name is Kyle Heyer, joined by Larry Lefty McLeod for one last race in this 4-race championship. And Larry, we've seen some spectacular racing from Mosport and all over the world, really. We went to Bathurst and Watkins Glen, but now we conclude at a Grand Prix circuit that is very, very technical, and looking forward to two 20-minute races tonight. What are you expecting with I got Tom O'Gorman and Eric Catil joining the GT3 ranks again this week, so lots to expect, but what do you expect for tonight?
I'm expecting a heck of a battle in GT3, as you just mentioned there, with Catil and O'Gorman jumping back in. Last week we saw them running over in the TCRs, but this battle of GT3s is going to be heavy. It's got lots of big names up there with Mario Jukic back in here. We saw him a couple of weeks ago running the GT3s at Mount Panorama. Now he's going to be here at the Nurburgring Grand Prix, joining with Barroso and O'Gorman and Cobb, Catil. So I think this is going to be just all sorts of throwdown here. As you mentioned, very, very technical circuit. It's going to be interesting with a couple of mix of cars, with the Audis, the Mercedes, the BMWs. I'm not sure anybody's got an advantage. It's going to come down to driver and track position here through qualifying.
I think there was a very clear hierarchy of car speeds at tracks like Watkins Glen and Bathurst, but we come to a place like the Nürburgring. This track has a little bit of everything. It's got high downforce corners, it's got sweepers, it's got hairpins and long straightaways. So as you mentioned, I'm not really sure any particular GT3 car has an advantage here, but the spec TCR class this week, everyone's on equal footing there, and Brad Adams just went quickest in qualifying. A 2:07.498 was his best time, and he doesn't have to deal with Catil or Tom O'Gorman or DJ Alessandrini this week. I would say that Brad Adams is probably the pick to win both races tonight, unless Danny Hagford and Ryan Carwile can keep up with him here.
Well, over in TCR, yeah, he's qualifying well right now on pole, but you've got a DJ Alessandrini sitting back.
Oh,
there.
he is. Oh, DJ is in
yes,
TCR tonight.
I don't know that we're going to see him qualify. We saw this 2 weeks ago when we were at Mosport, sorry, not at Mosport, at Bathurst, when he did not qualify, and he was able to pick through the field and managed to win one of the two races that night by doing that. We might be seeing him do that again here tonight, and this track might allow him to do that. There's enough long straightaways, enough passing zones, enough spots where he thinks maybe he can pick up and get through this field. It'll be interesting to see if that's his strategy. Just to give you an idea on pace, he was in the 205s in practice a bit ago. Right now, qualifying for Bradley Adams is a 207. That's a significant improvement, a significant gap there for DJ. If he's able to hold that kind of pace, he can pick his way through the field pretty quickly that way, if he can stay clean.
So qualifying is almost complete. Austin Cobb is the top of the standings in GT3. Alex Barroso in second place, and it's Jeff Royan rounding out your podium in qualifying. And of course, Brad Adams quickest in qualifying for TCR, then Danny Hagford, Ryan Carwile. Eric Pennington is back in fifth place as, Carwile just went quickest to the top of the board with a 2:06.841. So he'll be starting from pole. And Alessandrini, as you mentioned, has not yet laid down a time. I don't expect him to. So this really begs the question now. How difficult is it going to be to get through the field? Because there is a pretty significant number of TCR cars here this week. I think we're about 16 or 17 TCR machines. That's quite a few to pass at a racetrack like this. I don't think it's going to be quite as easy to get the job done as it was at Mosport last week.
That might be the biggest challenge, is just the number of cars to get through, depending on how well the field kind of shakes itself out. If he's able to get them through in bunches, off the start straight as you go to the first hairpin, if the hairpin's clean, the problem is the hairpin leads into a series of kind of tight bends. If the field starts to bunch up through there and someone like DJ can't pick off a couple of cars, those first couple of corners, it just takes that much longer. And lap after lap that he goes and hasn't picked off a couple of cars, it's going to become harder and harder to finally make his way through the field. And if he goes 3-4 laps and hasn't made his way through, suddenly those GT3 cars start to lap, and now it becomes compoundingly harder to do what he's trying to do. So let's kind of see, how is he able to get through? Can he do it in the first 5 laps and catch those leaders before the GT3 cars lap the TCRs?
Also, very cool conditions out here this afternoon. 63 degrees in the air, 65 on the racetrack. That's basically minimum. So I think that's about as much grip as you're going to have here at the Nürburgring Grand Prix circuit, is 65-degree track temp. So that means we're going to see really fast lap times It also means that the TCR cars have a pretty hard time getting their tires up to temperature, especially with a very short pace lap. So, again, the lap here is a little bit longer than we saw last week, about 1:50 seconds. So, lap traffic today, where do you think is the best place to make a pass around Nurburgring here tonight?
There's a couple of spots. If you can get a run off of the hairpin at the top of the hill onto the front straight, so that would be at the turn 16, usually it is, down the front straight. If you can get a run down into that first hairpin, it's a downhill, kind of tough on the braking. That's one spot. Another would be as you come off turn 7 and head down to the Dunlop curve at the very low point of the whole site down to turn 8. You might be able to get a pass into there. Another spot, if you can get a run off of the Dunlop and you can stay with someone, a draft coming through the Schumacher S's, you might have a shot going into the left-hander turn 11. After that, it's tough because then you've got 12 onto that back straight into that kink 13, and then you're into a chicane, and it's always dicey to try and pass the chicane. So you're pretty much either going to be 1 or 8, for maybe 11 for your passing zones.
Field rolling off for a short pace lap around here at the Nurburgring, and the starting lineup has been scrolling along the bottom of your screen, where we've got about 35-40 cars on the grid for the night. So it's going to be busy and hectic out there, as it always has been. DJ Alessandrini starting at the very tail of the TCR field. They're leaving about a 10 to 15 second gap, and you're going to want a little bit of a gap on the start here because turn 1, it's a great passing zone, Larry, but it's also quite hazardous if you make a mistake.
It is, and everyone's going to want to try and go wide, and they're all going to bottleneck themselves up because immediately after you got 2, 3, and 4 in this giant sort of mini little carousel down the middle there. I'm going to be looking to see how Barroso can do. We saw him very fast last week on a different style track. Want to see if he can keep up with Cobb here in these first couple laps as we go green.
Green flag flies at the Nurburgring. We're racing for the final round of the season in the Grid Life iRacers Sports Car Sprint. Barroso in the BMW down to the bottom in turn number 1. Doesn't quite challenge for the lead as we make it through. Some contact cars spinning in the background. It's a Ferrari turned sideways as they drop down the order. The TCR field still coming to the green flag out of the final corner. And there they go. It's Brad Adams who's gotten clear. Carwile is... I don't see him. Where'd he go? Carwile did not take the green flag, so Adams is going to lead them down to turn 1.
So just watching now as Cobb's able to make his way clean off the pole to hold the lead. Barroso and Jukic fall right in line. These guys might just kind of feel their way out here a little bit, get a couple laps in before they start dicing for anything. It's just to see, especially at speed now as they come around down into the Dunlop curve for the first time. Just going to see how everything shakes out, what the draft really feels like with these cars first time around.
And then way back, right, saw Ravachadra on Managaran. He spun around, coming down the hill, but single file for the most part in GT3 for now. In TCR, Danny Hagford takes a look at Brad Adams and isn't able to make the pass, but certainly putting pressure on that 69 car for the lead.
Yeah, as these guys now still in these cold tire opening lap.
Oh.
This is going to be interesting for them.
Adams slipped, and he's going to give the lead up.
First contact there as he's coming off the corner as well. Again, it's tough with these cold tires. It's going to take him a lap or so to really warm them up.
And Val DiPietro took an off-road excursion through the gravel trap as well, so he's going to fight with Miles Gilsinger through the Schumacher S, and they've gotten through it okay. DJ Alessandrini has moved his way up into 10th place in class. As the battle up in front of them continues, then Adams tries to get second spot back from Pennington, and he does so. And that's the chase Hagford, but Pennington still putting pressure on Adams with Zoo right behind as well. So great battle up at the front of the TCR field. In GT3, Cobb leads the way, and they are through lap number 1 already.
Yeah, again, they're just trying to feel their way out, and I don't know that he's going to be able to get away from any of them. I think this track drafts pretty well. These cars, we know they draft very well. But we saw a very close race in the last couple of weeks. We saw Barroso have that battle with Darling last week. We saw Jukic have the great battle with O'Gorman in a couple of races here at Bathurst 2 weeks ago. So there's a couple of names right there in the top 3 that we know they can race in close quarters. So let's just kind of see how, if anybody tries a move, or if we're going to wait until we're probably 15 minutes in before anybody really starts to poke their nose around.
Tom O'Gorman competed in the TCR class last week, ended up in a collision in race 1, and back to GT3 this week. It's a little bit loose in the gravel trap on corner exit, but only running 6th best. Eric Catil back at 8th, so they seem like they got a little bit of work to do if they want to go up there and compete with Cobb and Barroso, but O'Gorman closing in on the 130 right in front of him for 5th.
Yeah, Tom not taking the aggressive start like he did last week at TCR. He's really kind of taking his time. Although here he is making a pass the outside, going around Arroyan.
Wow. That was actually...
That's aggressive.
That was the 130 of Christopher Yeager in the 130 car. He's actually got a slowdown, so he's going to have to give up another spot to Eric Catil. And he drops to 8th after running 5th at the start of the lap. Hagford in TCR has the lead. Adams and Pennington were running side by side for a moment down into the hairpin, but Adams hangs on for now. Oh, car sideways, DiPietro. And he's going to hang on, front-wheel drive save, put the throttle to the floor, and get the car straightened back out, but he loses spot to Miles Gilsinger in the 77.
Always the best way to save a front driver. Just put your right foot down and hope for the best. Turn into the spin.
Works pretty good, doesn't it? Caleb Nichols
Sure does.
in the 31. That's the Falcon car in 9th place, and trying to close in on the small group ahead of him. Luigi Alessandrini still 10th in class. I wonder if he had some trouble or if it was just a slow start, because he hasn't closed up to the gap in front of him like he thought he would. But maybe these guys have something for him this week.
Maybe. He just might, like I said, if he can't do this before the GT3 starts to catch him, it's going to make it extremely difficult, because now he's going to have to be dealing with what's coming behind him while he's trying to pick apart what's in front of him.
So 5 minutes into the race, Austin Cobb leads GT3. Barroso has not been able to close, but he hasn't lost a whole lot either. 8/10ths back. Then it's Mario Dukic in the 333. Then Jeff Arroyan right behind. And Arroyan's actually closing up and was a hair quicker than Barroso last time by. So that 28 car in 4th is pretty good. And it's right now it's Audi, BMW, Mercedes, 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 your top 5.
These cars look right at home, don't they, here? All these German cars just piling in the top 8 right now.
Whoa, Gorman loose on the exit curb and was able to hang on to it.
That's his style. That's Tom does like a loose car. I've seen him. You've seen him whether he's road racing or whether he's even autocrossing in Dave Montgomery's 914. That car is, wherever he's driving, it's always a little on the loose edge.
Loose is fast. And Barroso under attack from Dukic in the 333. And they've been kind of line astern here, really unable to do a whole lot with each other. And I think they're just waiting for better passing opportunities, but it's so hard around here to be better than somebody else without crashing into them, because all the passing opportunities are such slow hairpins that have incredibly fast braking zone. You see Barroso lose some ground to Dukic in turn 1.
Yeah, he is starting to make little mistakes, just little half-tenth, one-tenth mistakes, and that's allowed Dukic to be right on his tail. And Dukic is kind of taking some data in. He's trying to decide maybe the next lap by, make that mistake again, and you might see Mario stick his nose inside at some point.
A little bit wide at the exit of the hairpin, and Arroyan still 4th place. O'Gorman 5th. Patrick Gallagher in 6th place with Eric Catil still in 8th. He's actually lost a spot to the 130 after getting by him a few laps ago. And in TCR, no close battles at the moment. We'll take you there if there is one. For the lead is closing, though. Hagford is getting run down by Brad Adams.
Hagford had that benefit early as they had a little tangle down there at the Dunlop curve on the cold tires, but Adams has definitely reeled him back in very quickly now as they head onto that front straight.
And you're threading the needle through that chicane on the back straightaway. That's a pretty violent jump over those curbs in this car, and can get the car pretty upset and sideways.
It's the fast way, though. You got to use every little bit of it.
Into turn 1, Adams has closed within a half a second of Hagford, and down a couple of gears through turn 1. And again, these cars are geared pretty short. And you see behind Lupfer and Pennington trading spots, and Lupfer moving up a 3rd. He started pretty deep in the field in his Subaru-sponsored Audi, so he's got a little ways to go, but he's come a very long way as well. At the front of the field in GT3, Cobb leads Barroso by 1 second. We're going to keep the cameras on TCR as Hagford and Adams continue to fight for the lead, and Adams has been setting him up and closing in, but he's kind of stalled out about 7/10ths back. We'll see if he can close on the second half of the lap.
Yeah, he's kind of waiting for Hagford to make another mistake, and Hagford's made a couple here and there. Yep, a little bit of wiggle there in corner entry you can see, and that helps Adams be a little bit more smooth.
Adams closed a lot under braking there, and was able to...
And again, I don't know if these cars draft that well, But you make a little mistake on corner entry, and if you're that driver, it just shakes a little bit. It takes you a second to recover, and you lose your momentum coming out of that corner, and that's allowed Adams to be right under that rear wing of that Audi going into turn 11.
So Hagford and Adams continue to fight for the lead in TCR. James Tack has just had an issue in the number 20 GT3. We'll take you back and see what happened. His Mercedes is in pit lane. It looks like he actually went for a pretty wild ride here. So here's a look at the replay. It was right in front of, I believe that's the 944 of Max Toyer. Oh, contact there, and it actually turned up and over the 20, and he slid on the roof into the runoff area. So that was the end of the night for Tack in the number 20 car. And back to TCR lead as we complete our 5th lap of the night for GT3s the next time they come back around.
Just keep an eye on DJ back there right now. I think he's in 8th right now, but he's got a real keen eye on 7th right in front of him, and possibly even 6th as well, maybe on this lap or even these corners. Picking his spots carefully. He's trying to do it clean.
It's a couple seconds back from the leaders, but still not out of the realm of possibility. We've seen how good and how fast he can be when he really needs to turn up the wick. And especially with these two leaders fighting, it's not out of the realm of possibility he could get back up here. Just give him some time and some opportunity and he'll be there.
And he's turning laps quicker. He did just do a 2:06.0, and the leaders are in the mid 2:07. So he's turning a second and a half quicker. Although he's pretty far back from them track position wise. So he's not only got to clear these cars in front of him quickly, he's got to pick through and still maintain pace. But he's stuck behind them now for about 4 corners.
Alfred Rodriguez just went for a spin. This is a car we saw looped at the start of the race, was getting out of the way of or trying to avoid a stopped car in the chicane and went around for a loop trying to miss it. But he'll get back rolling. And the car that he was trying to miss was the 6, Brennan Burke. And he just got by him again in turn number 1. In GT3, real close for the lead. Cobb, Barroso, Dukic, Arroyan, all right next to each other. The top 3 really the closest. And
Cobb had started pulling away, I think, as they caught some back markers in TCR. Cobb hesitated a little bit and allowed Barroso and Dukic to get right back up on him. And I think this is benefiting Dukic. I really think he's the quickest of this whole field right now, and he's been stuck behind Barroso.
Oh, DiPietro off track in front of the leaders in GT3. He's going to stay off in the runoff as Dukic clears him. But you're right, Larry. I think that Dukic is in a great spot, but there's a lot of TCR traffic about to be infiltrated by the GT3 field as they work their way through lap number 6.
Yeah, and the chicane coming up.
Oh, it's a very busy place out there right now. Oh, Barroso off in the dirt trying to miss the traffic. Contact Alessandrini getting together with Gilsinger, and to the inside goes Cobb to put them a lap down. And here comes Dukic to the outside. Barroso stuck behind Gilsinger in the 77, 3 wide on the front straightaway. Oh, contact Alessandrini and Dukic. And DJ didn't want to give him the space.
Yeah, he thought he could make it out there, and there's nowhere to go. They're about 4 or 5 wide coming off of that turn.
Barroso, Dukic still fighting for second. Cobb was able to gather some ground. And all the chaos crashed behind, and it's the 130 of Christopher Yeager, and I believe that was the 130 of, excuse me, the 102 of Val DiPietro, potentially. Back and see. Maybe it wasn't. I have to double check I have the right TCR. I don't think it was. It might have been the 31. It was the 31 of Caleb Nichols, who turned in, and the 130 was already to the inside.
Yeager seems to be underway all right.
Very busy right now with Patrick Gallagher, Tom O'Gorman fighting for 6th, and Alessandrini right in front of him in the TCR car in 6th in class. 3 wide again on the back straightaway.
Tomo's in a good spot here. He's going to have the better line coming off of this. He should have a run.
Oh, big lift by Gallagher as they approach the straightaway. That's going to give Tom a great run, but where does he go? Not really a great place to pass here. You have to sit in line for a moment.
Yep. And now he's got TCR traffic to contend with. Oh, it is rush hour.
Oh, in the braking zone.
Going into 11.
Oh, man, side by side. That's the 25 of Eric Pennington. And they get through there cleanly and around the outside of Pennington.
Now, I've driven on the street with Tom O'Gorman. I have not been on track with him, but this is exactly how he drives the street as well, so in case you're wondering. If he's like just dropping you off at the airport, this is exactly what it's like.
Oh, man. Through the chicane, high speed over the curbs. Gallagher in 6th, O'Gorman in 7th. Lead in GT3 is 1.5 seconds. Here comes Tomo to the inside.
What a move.
A late move, but he got it done and has to drop back behind him as they approach the straightaway again and lapping some more TCR traffic.
Yeah, unable to quite make that stick.
Into turn 1, 6 minutes and 40 seconds. A big dive on the brakes. Rotor is glowing. Crossover by Gallagher. Can he fight back? I don't think so. Tomo's got it. What a move.
It's great. Yeah, Tom's just looking for any bit of spot where he can get track position. By diving in through there, at least he puts on the outside and he can hold position going through a 2 and 3, which he's got now.
A little bit of damage on the rear bumper of that car as well, so he's had someone hood deep in the rear bumper of the 94. And a great battle between these two for 6th in class. In TCR, that lead battle between Hagford and Adams stagnated at 0.6 of a second. Again, we'll take you there if it gets any closer. And all the battles have really kind of strung out with that first run through the traffic. Valdpietro and Caleb Nichols fighting for 8th in TCR, though.
And things have kind of spread out. That was a little tense there for that lap or two as the two packs had sort of crossed together a little bit with the crossing of the streams, but things have settled. In fact, it seems like Austin Cobb might have been the biggest beneficiary of that, because remember, as we started that, he was down to where it was nose to tail for Cobb to Barroso to Jukic all the way back to GT3s. Now Cobb's got a nearly 2-second advantage on Barroso, and it's even up to 0.8 from Barroso back to Jukic.
I think we just missed something interesting with Tomo Gorman and Patrick Gallagher. Gallagher punted Tomo, and we're looking at the replay now, and Tomo managed to save it, but Gallagher did let Tomo back on by, so all things fair after that exchange.
It's the gentlemanly thing to do.
It certainly is, but 5 minutes to go, and O'Gorman back in 6th, Gallagher in 7th. And how about 5th place in class in TCR? That's Kevin Zhu and DJ Alessandrini fighting for 5th.
We've seen this before. Seen these guys do this here, and we've seen it in the Washington, D.C. region races. These two definitely know each other.
And that is the 10th place Audi of Dan Capaldo on the inside. That's put them another lap down and down into turn 1. Right in front of them is Eric Pennington. That is also for position. And in front of them, loop first. There's 3rd through 6th all together as they work through turn 1. Pennington a little bit slow. And Zhu and Alessandrini close right up. Nowhere to go yet. No, here comes DJ to the inside. A late move in turn 2. And he's going to get the job done. As long as he can maintain driver's left here, it looks like he will.
He's a long left-hander here.
Certainly
through
is.
turns 2 and 3. It just feels like it goes on forever.
And DJ up to 5th and now knocking on the door for 4th.
And we're just under 4 minutes to go. Should be able to get 3 laps, but he's pretty far back. Sitting here and knocking on the door of 4th.
Whoa! That was Max Toyer in the 944 slotting in line to the outside of DJ in the grass, and Pennington slides over to give him space. That was real tense for a moment.
Is that R8 all-wheel drive? Because he was off in the grass. And
Might as well be. I mean, that was pretty impressive. He's digging up the grass with the front splitter. It's an expensive lawnmower, I'll tell you that.
yeah.
Loop for
Just gotta
3rd.
split himself in there.
Pennington 4th. Alessandrini 5th. Oh, Dukic is around. He's crashed. And he's over in the Nordschleife section. How did he get over there? Oh. And this is after the chicane here on the back straightaway. Jumped the curb and got over the edge of it on exit, and the car just ran off and he slipped.
Yep. You hit that sort of exit of there, and then you just could lose control of it in the grass. There's not much you can do.
Battle for the lead.
He wanted to go run the Nordschleife.
TCR. Brad Adams goes to the top spot over Hagford through the chicane. Let's take a look at that replay as it happened. There was some traffic involved. It was the 10th place GT3 of Capallo that had just passed them, and here's the replay of the battle for the lead. Max Toyer went around the outside. They were 3 wide for a moment, and then through the chicane, it was Brad Adams that came out on top. Well done pass, and he moves his way into the lead in TCR.
For the last couple of minutes, I think the best place, if you're going to go to the ring and watch a race in the Grand Prix track, is go sit in that chicane.
He's wide.
Chicane's where it's all happening.
Yep, and Hagford goes back through in turn 1. Patrick Gallagher's crashed behind in the 0-0. But we're going to pull back to TCR lead because Hagford and Adams are not done contesting this yet. 2 minutes left in this race. And And there's cars all over the racetrack right now. It's getting intense, and Adams is setting up. Oh! Big dive into the corner, has to back out, almost contact between those two, and Hagford tries to drive away.
He's going to try, but not much separation between these two. And again, we're probably, 2 laps to go?
Looks like it. And Eric Pennington and DJ Alessandrini fighting for third. Luke for sliding in the TCR. He's going to hang on. He's dropped from third to fifth. Actually make that third to sixth in the first half of this lap, so something went awry for the 688. And now Alessandrini's got to run on Pennington down into the hairpin. And pass complete. Kevin Zhu trying to fill the gap alongside the 25. Up at the front, Hagford and TCR trying to run away from Adams. Final lap for Austin Cobb as he comes on through and down into turn 1. 1 lap to go for GT3.
And again, GT3 Audi is just sort of poking their way through this battle. Not to be disturbed as Hagford just keeps on rolling through.
We will go back and find out what happened to Gallagher after the conclusion of this race. I do want to take you back up to the lead in TCR because I don't think we're done quite yet. Adams closing on Hagford through the chicane where he was a little bit better than him last time, and he's within 0.2 of a second as they approach their final lap.
Oh yeah, Adams is so much quicker through that chicane, it seems. He's right on his tail again.
Car stopped on the left.
Flies.
That was the 944 of Max Toyer. And he'll get off the track and we'll continue. White flag still flying for TCR as they come on through to take the white flag. Adams within 0.3 of a second. Will he dive on the brakes here? He's going to sit in line and wait his turn here.
He's gonna wait, maybe see if he can make a mistake somewhere here through this little carousel section. Maybe try and get a run off a 7 down all the way to the bottom of the hill in the Dunlop, or maybe even try and get a draft off of Dunlop through the S's and try to make a move there. He's been behind them long enough. He's got to know where on this track he's faster.
So momentarily we'll pull away to bring you Austin Cobb as he's working through the last part of the lap through the chicane. And Austin Cobb in command of this one. He's led every lap so far and real close to not leading some of the laps as Barroso put some pressure on, but once they got to the traffic, it was game over. Austin Cobb comes out of the final corner. He's going to win race 1 here tonight at the Nurburgring. Barroso and Arroyan will wrap up the rest of your podium. Tom O'Gorman will come home in 5th place. And we still have yet to see if there was contact between him and the 00. And now Adams has about a half a lap left to get up to Hagford, but that gap is a little bit bigger than he probably wants it to look.
And again, they've got a GT3 car to keep slipping in between them. Maybe helping Hagford a little bit.
Couple more corners. Adams a big gain here. He's going to run wide. I don't think it matters. Keep rolling. A straightaway, a chicane, and 1 more corner, and that's all it's going to be. Adams is 4/10 back.
That chicane, he's been faster than every time. So if Hagford's got that in his head that he's got to nail the chicane, he can make a mistake through it. If Adams got the confidence, maybe he can pick up just a little bit and make a move on the final turn.
Here we come. Chicane for the final time for the TCR field. Hagford and Adams, 0.3 of a second. Here comes Adams to the inside. Final corner. Big dive, a block, contact. Hagford slides off the track. Adams is there. He comes on through. Final corner, and in a wild finish, he's going to let up, and Hagford and him are going to run side by side to the finish. Here comes Alessandrini to steal it away at the end. Crossing the line. Who won it? I think Hagford got it. No, Brad Adams was scored with the victory. Wow, that was a wild way to end that one.
It was, and I think what was happening was Hagford realized what he had done, gone through the chicane, and tried to block down on Adams. And Adams just said, well, I'm going to stick my foot down and stay down this inside, and
we saw this.
I don't know. I mean, Hagford had the line.
We saw this at Bathurst as well, where drivers kind of had an incident. They led up to kind of solve the problem, and then someone else tried to come in and steal it. But here's a look at the replay, and I think you're going to see a block here. I think Adams is overlapped, and the 2 pulls across the nose. I don't think Adams did anything wrong here. But certainly he might have felt like it would have been more fair to let up. But Alessandrini comes in and tried to spoil the party, and Adams didn't want to have any of that. And so they came across the line.
After the contact, then Alessandrini is just going to come in and take it if he can. And really no choice for anybody to do what they did. But just going back to that block, I'm just trying to see Blocks to me are always that idea of a double move. He just completely just made a beeline for it, and I don't know that Adams ever had the line.
Yeah, it's pretty close. I think it's yeah. I don't know. That's I'm not a steward, so I'm not going to comment any further on that. But I'll tell you that it was pretty
Very
wild
true.
there at the end. I do want to go back also before we show you the official results. I do want to go back and show you the incident that the 00 had, and we're going to find out exactly what the cause of that situation was. Because he didn't end up finishing the race, and I want to find out why. So he was running side by side with Tom O'Gorman as they started the lap. And let's see what the cause of the concern here was. So this is early in the lap, and we don't know exactly where in the lap it happened, so we're going to just stay put. Let's maybe scroll ahead here to see what happened between these two. Or if...
I'm thinking I've found it, but I'm not sure what it was. There was contact coming off of 5. And it looks like Gallagher just pulls.
It could have gotten
over?
a meatball potentially, but that's bizarre. I didn't expect that.
Maybe?
I thought we would see a crash, but we didn't. So
Yeah, it was light contact. It didn't look like anything crazy, but that's too bad. That was a really good battle.
There's a look at your unofficial results. Top 10 in GT3. Cobb, Barroso, Arroyan. O'Gorman comes home 5th, and Eric Catil in 6th. There's your TCR drivers, Adams and Hagford, and Alessandrini, your podium.
Great battle, Adams and Hagford. Results aside, their contact at the end, the two of those two, they definitely deserve to be 1-2 in that finish. And in GT3, Cobb, well-deserved with the win there. Barroso, great job hanging on the second there. I'm looking forward to another round of all this because this is pretty exciting between them. They're really close racing on both fields.
I have to laugh a little bit. The gap between 2nd and 3rd in TCR, 0.005 of a second as they cross the line.
That's some close racing. And that's DJ coming from the back. Trying to see if he can do it again, maybe.
He almost stole 2nd place away and was pretty close to getting the win if Adams had let up any further. But we're going to see a rematch in race number 2, so stay with us for another 5 or 6 minutes. We'll be back for race number 2 with the Grid Life iRacers Sports Car Sprint. Stay with us. Welcome back live to Sim TV and Grid Life iRacers Sports Car Sprint. We're here in Germany in the Nurburgring Grand Prix circuit for the second race tonight. And it'll be our final race of the season as well. And it's a 20-minute race we're about to get underway here, just finishing up qualifying for this second event. We've also had a couple drivers change the class that they're running in. Larry, we've got Tom and Eric. They've swapped from the GT3s back to the TCRs this race. Going to be fun to watch those two duke it out at the front.
It will. Yeah. In fact, we were talking about that in between the races, kind of speculating on where we're going to see anybody jump classes. And we even mentioned, I wonder about Tom, because he did that. He's done it before and ran that last week. And there you go. Catil and O'Gorman have jumped out of the GT3s into the TCRs. Maybe try and put a little fight to DJ and to Brad and to Danny that had such a good battle there in the first race. So that is definitely going to shake up TCR quite a bit. Also, while we look at qualifying, shaking things up a little bit is Barroso right now is on provisional pole as we wait for qualifying to finish up. But he finished up second in the last race. If he can hang on, that's a good spot to start in. He's very quick.
Austin Cobb currently third with a 150.8, so he's about a tenth. Actually, they make that a 0.124 off of Barroso's time across the line that time. It was a 150. That didn't count. I got a 1x or something. So Cobb will still remain third as Barroso comes on through to finish up another lap here shortly.
And we saw Barroso last week kind of do the same things as well, where he was second in the first race, came back and won the second race. Barroso has got that kind of ability to kind of learn what he learns the first race and apply it in the second one.
And he will not improve. It will stay at 150.7, the time to beat. It looks like Cobb has given up for now. Eric Catil is on a flyer. He's going to finish up this lap this time. His best currently a 207.053. Needs a 206.9 to win pole, and it was a 206.962, but not quite good enough. It'll put him second best. Tom O'Gorman with a 206.917 at the top of the standings. And a nice little handbrake drift there down into turn one to celebrate. Brad Adams in the 69, the winner of race one tonight in a wild last corner battle with he and Danny Hagford. They're third and fourth now, but they're a good ways off Catil and O'Gorman in pace, so just see if they can maintain more consistency than the front two and also keep DJ Alessandrini behind them, because DJ is not qualifying again, so he's doing the same thing he did for race number one.
Yeah, this will be interesting now with O'Gorman and Catil jumping in. DJ is not only going to have to catch Adams and Hagford in that bunch, but if O'Gorman and Catil are able to kind of check out, it's going to be almost impossible for DJ to catch them. But we've seen weird things.
Certainly have. 30 seconds left in qualifying, and not a whole lot of GT3 cars left on track. There's just Patrick Gallagher, Rasmussen, and Vincent Cernuto that are making their way around. And Gallagher, again, actually, he switched cars, I believe. Was he not in a Mercedes before?
He was in AMG, yes. So we see him now in the BMW.
And took a big jump over the curbs. Andrew Rasmussen, he's just come into the pit lane. Vincent Cernuto also in a Z4. So it seems like people have discovered that maybe the Z4 is a little better around here. We talked earlier about, I don't think we could figure any car was any better than the others, but it seems like a couple people have jumped ship from the AMG to the Z4.
You know, you see that in racing. Anytime that's a fast driver gets into a car and, you know, all of a sudden the other folks go, maybe it's the car or maybe it's just Barroso. That's my theory on this, but I guess we'll see. We'll see if anybody else can keep up with Alex Barroso. He's got it on pole with a 50.6, now heading up the field in the front row there with Christopher Yager.
So it's time to run through our starting lineup. We're going to let that scroll along the bottom of your screen before we get rolling again. We'll take a look at our race conditions. 65 again and 66 again on the racetrack. So again, really cool conditions, but it looked like the TCRs really did struggle to get their tires up to temp. We saw a lot of slipping and sliding around on the opening lap. Does that change how aggressive you need to be on that first lap? Do you think a couple of the drivers need to tone it down a little bit for race two?
We didn't see a lot of aggressiveness in the first race on the first lap, certainly not in the GT3s. I think everybody sort of just stayed marching in step in line. I wouldn't be surprised maybe after that race there wasn't a lot of aggression through except for that Gallagher-O'Gorman battle, which obviously now isn't going to happen. Would not be surprised if this race is a little bit different, if we start to see some opening lap aggression in GT3 to see if Royan, Jukic, Cobb start to try and muscle their way up a couple of spots to see if they can make a fight to Yager and Barroso in that front row. And the TCRs is just going to look crazy. We saw last week O'Gorman opening lap go right past DJ and just check out on cold tires, he may try and do the same thing here and see if he can build a lead right off the get-go and make everybody else chase him.
And of course, we've got Catil and O'Gorman jumping ship to the TCR category, so that's going to change the lead battle that we're expecting to see there. Alessandrini again starting at the tail of the field. He's got his buddies up front, so it's going to be a goal to chase everybody down. And he got to third place and almost got second in race 1, so I think the opportunity is there as well. But he's got probably 2 arguably stronger drivers starting at the front of this grid, so it might be a little bit more challenging to do that this time, but we're going to find out here shortly.
Yeah, I think he's got a little bit tougher fight there to catch up, but not impossible. We know DJ's got the speed, and he's got a little bit more seat time in that car this week than O'Gorman and Catil. But O'Gorman's got real-time seat time in the LA Honda World TCR. It's not exactly the Honda he's been driving, but the Audi's a pretty close facsimile.
So pace lap underway for the final round of the season of the Grid Life iRacers Sports Car Sprint. We're going to update you on what I expected to be the champion here at the end. I think Paul Darling was actually leading GT3, and he's not here tonight, so it's going to kind of mix things up. So we're not really sure who's leading the points right now, but we'll find out after the race is over. Through the chicane, that was a trouble spot for especially the TCR field, battling traffic, but time to go racing again. Barroso in command. On the outside, it's Christopher Yeager in the 130 car. That's the AMG. Green flag in the air, racing for the final time of the winter season in the Grid Life iRacers Sports Car Sprint. And it's a mess as they head down to turn 1, too wide.
It is already, and it looked like Yeager and Cobb already kind of banging doors just as they cross start finish.
Oh, big dive for the 130 into turn 1, but he has to slow way up to not run into the side of Alex Barroso. And we'll head back to the TCR start as they come across the line. Gorman and Catil running side by side into turn 1. Who's going to be braver on the brakes? Alessandrini's kind of mid-pack here. He's only 4th place, maybe make it 5th. And here comes Adams to the outside, trying to get around Catil on the inside lane. There's a car way off in the background. That's Caleb Nichols in the Falcon car. And still door to door between O'Gorman and Catil.
How in the world did DJ get up here already?
I think he actually started up. I think a lot of other drivers didn't qualify either, so that put him higher up the order. Rating by iRacing.
Maybe.
So relatively clean start in TCR and in GT3. Not a whole lot of trouble that we've seen. And there's Danny Hagford side by side with Lupfer in the 688 as we work our way through lap 1 in TCR.
Yeah, Hagford's probably the one there that kind of lost out on that opening lap, this opening couple of corners relative to everybody else. With DJ kind of getting by him. He's going to be the one here to kind of struggle to stay pace, kind of right now offline as they go through the Dunlop curve the first time.
So TCR off to a very good, clean start. Oh, a little bit of trouble. Kevin Zhu got knocked off course there with contact with some Samuel Engelbert in the 18, but they get it back straightened out. Up in front in GT3, Barroso leads the field down through the chicane for the first time, and he's got the 130 right on his rear bumper as they complete lap number 1.
So when we saw the green flag fly, you saw Yeager kind of pushing over into Cobb, pushing Cobb down the inside. Yeager's been super aggressive. He tried a dive bomb move into 1 the first time. He's been pushing Barroso all over the place. And here he goes again, dive bombing in, and that just wasn't going to stick.
No, it was way too deep, and there goes a teammate. That's Dukic to the inside, and he'll complete that pass. We just saw Jorge Ortiz go for a spin, so he's back rolling, but no contact. We'll go back to GT3 as Dukic and Yeager second and third. Austin Cobb sitting in 4th. Still sticking with the Audi this time, and needs to quickly get by these two if he wants to battle with Barroso again.
Yeah, I think Yeager's aggression is just going to get himself in trouble.
Contact, and Yeager got slammed in the rear bumper as they ran into each other. And there was just not enough space for Cobb to slip on the outside.
Cobb looked like the aggressor there. I'm not sure if he just missed his braking point or something there, if Yeager maybe brake checked a little bit.
Contact in TCR. Around goes Engelbert in turn number 1 off the bumper of Hagford. Hagford's going to slow to a stop. And Gilsinger, Lupfer, and Moore will go on by. Derek King in the 86, Eric Pennington, they're side by side. This is for 5th in class. Up front, it's Tom O'Gorman by 9/10 of a second over Eric Catil, Adams, and Alessandrini.
So Adam's able to hang right there with Catil, and now DJ is going to see if he can fight his way through this group, as Hagford seems to be the one that's out of this group entirely now.
Adams has really good pace in this car, and we've seen him be super competitive with or without Catil, Alessandrini, and O'Gorman. But you see DJ fighting a little bit of a loose condition, still getting the tires up to temp, but the battle for second is on as they make their way through the Schumacher S.
Just using every ounce of curving.
Dan Capaldo with trouble in the 567 car. We're going to keep our focus here, though, as Alessandrini follows Adams into the left-hander. And he'll
Big
go on
slide,
by.
though.
Yep.
And that cost him the spot right there. You go sliding into 11, you go wide there, and DJ just tucked underneath.
Let's go back and find out what happened to Capaldo. He's in an Audi R8 and was crashed in the final corner. Looks like he just kind of got loose and slow, lazy loop around, and he'll drop down to 13th in class. Gallagher and Arroyan fighting for 5th in GT3. $15 minutes to go, 5 minutes down. Valdez, actually, Brandon Burke has gone around. This is at the chicane. We've seen this be a trouble spot tonight for TCR cars, especially with how slippery and slidey it is on cold tires. Here's a look. Just kind of bobbled. And
Yeah, the chicane's tough. It's bumpy. It kind of rises in the middle there. The curbs are kind of tall, and it just crests. So we even saw a couple GT3 cars get up into that. And if you get up out of the grass, it just slides forever.
Arroyan has passed Gallagher for 5th in GT3. Gilsinger and Lupfer, they're side by side in TCR, and contact. Lupfer's going to run wide. Gilsinger slipping and sliding, and Pennington says, "Okay, boys, I'm going to take both those spots," and he moves his way up into 5th.
I will say these cars really race closely well together. That's one thing about these TCRs. They are just racing packs really well. Lots of slipping, lots of sliding, but they recover quickly, bash the foot down, just go, and next thing you know, they're back in the pack again, as you can watch them.
Yeah, Gilsinger actually got the right rear tire off in the grass and corner entry and slid for quite a ways and managed to hang on to it after all that.
Yeah.
Down into turn 1. Yager and Dukic still fighting for second. Austin Cobb trying to get by them, and Barroso starting to drive away, so the intensity beginning to rise for Cobb as he sees that BMW Z4 getting smaller out the windshield.
I think I totally agree on that. I think he's seeing that Yager's being just aggressive and not necessarily being a smart aggressive. He's just sort of losing time, not working together well enough, and letting Barroso just pulling away. Cobb's just watching the clock tick, 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 as he's now 2.5 seconds back. Barroso's a second and a half in front of this group, and Cobb's got to just get through this if he's got any shot of trying to reel in Barroso. And his best shot's going to be when they catch the TCR traffic into the lap or two. But if he's stuck behind a couple of AMGs here, it's going to be tough to try to make up any ground on Barroso.
Well, Adams still hangs on to 3rd in TCR. He's got Alessandrini behind him, but Tom O'Gorman's lead has shrunk slightly as Eric Catil has tracked him down. Gap is now 0.6 of a second as we see Alessandrini shaping up to get by Adams down here in turn 1. All about the brakes down here.
Yeah, these cars are just sketchy under braking. You can just see them kind of fighting a little bit. Just not the smoothest car under braking. The cars are just kind of always on that edge of going around.
They have anti-lock brakes on these cars, but it seems like whenever you stand on them, all the weight shifts forward, and those rear tires are not really doing a whole lot. You're basically just dragging them around in this car, and it loses a lot of rear grip on the brakes.
They're like casters at this point. Just rolling around back there.
Great battle in TCR, starting with Val Di Pietro in 11th in class. Jorge Ortiz, Engelbert, and Hagford all in a 4-car fight for 11th place.
And great paint schemes on these guys, too, I gotta say.
Absolutely.
The bright green grid life just looks awesome.
Certainly does. Almost halfway through this race, 12 minutes to go. And O'Gorman and Catil nose to tail. And what about Catil? Do you think he's going to try to get by O'Gorman here, or do you think it's better just to ride in line and try to draft away from the fast-approaching DJ Alessandrini?
I think he's probably looking to make a pass. I mean, you know, I don't think he wants to stick behind Tom if he doesn't have to. DJ's going to come at them regardless of what you try to do. I don't know that these cars need to stay in line in step. You may as well make the pass if you can. Tom doesn't make a lot of mistakes, but if he does, I think Eric's going to pounce hard and go right on by him. We saw Tom struggling to braking going into 1, so when they come around again, I think Coutillo's going to be ready. And you can see now even he's just right on his tail down this straight.
Here he comes into the chicane, and no opportunity to pass here at the speed you're going through here. But this does set you up for a couple passing opportunities at the end and the beginning of the next lap. So Coutillo going to try to get a run here down into turn 1, but he's a little too far back. I don't think he's quite as good through the chicane as Tama was, and that's where he's been losing some ground.
Yeah, not quite, but I think he's better into braking into 1 and through this opening carousel section. See if he closes up on him again like he did in the last lap.
On the brakes for turn 1. And yeah, you're right. The braking is where Coutillo really closes up. And then swinging back to the left for these long left-handers. And you see Tomo really struggling to get the car rotated in. Coutillo opening the wheel a bit more to let the car...
Characteristic, though, might play out better coming out of Dunlop curve, because if you can brake and get on his tail, now maybe coming out of the Schumacher S's, maybe you got a shot to pass going into 11. That might be a better shot for him if he can put this together, that same sort of move.
Oh man, it's busy right now through turn 2. Dukic went off track to the inside of TCRs. He went 3 wide to try to get the job done. And probably actually got a slowdown from that because of how much he cut in the corner, but Barroso had lost all that lead. Oh, the teammates get together! Contact. And around goes Dukic off the bumper of his teammate. And here comes Cobb to the outside going for second.
And Cobb needs this. He needs this position. He cannot sit behind Jager.
Oh, man. Jager gets into another TCR. I think that was Val Di Pietro that got the short end of the stick that time. And it's very intense right now in GT3.
Yeah, I think Cobb just breathed a huge sigh of relief. He needs that position. He needs to get clear of Jager, and now he needs some help. He needs Barroso to have trouble with some lap TCRs and try to close this 3-second gap down. That's really his only chance.
O'Gorman and Coutillo nose to tail. Coutillo off in the grass to the outside of O'Gorman, and he slipped.
Oh, no!
He's way off track. Cuts the chicane, gets back on course, but will have to give up a bunch of time.
Oh, that's unfortunate, but that was Tom wasn't going to give him any space.
Here's another look at exactly how that played out. Just got off in the grass and just got loose and big slide and a jump over the track, and he'll get back rolling, but 2-second gap up to O'Gorman now.
Yeah, well, again, not insurmountable as he's now running there with DJ. He and DJ may actually now have to try and work together.
Back in GT3, still traffic for Alex Barroso. He's gotten through some more. Cobb is stuck behind a group of 3 TCRs. This is a really bad spot to catch him. So if he can get by him here, he's going to have to. Whoa, Jaeger way deep on the brakes again. Passes him. Wow, he took total advantage of Cobb slowing for the traffic.
Cobb a little bit too conservative. He was trying to be careful about it. And as we've seen already, Jaeger is definitely not conservative at all.
Oh, this is a hornet's nest right now, looking from up above. Cobb around the outside, but gets shoved out a little bit too wide, and have to give up some more time as they all work their way through TCR traffic.
Are you already writing down questions for the post-race interview for both Austin Cobb and Chris Jaeger? Because I've already got some things I want to ask both these guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
This race alone, the way they started banging doors before the flag even went green. Oh, yeah.
Jaeger up to 2nd place, and Cobb back to 3rd still. And they've lost touch with Barroso, who's just picking him up and setting him down, and has lapped almost the entirety of the TCR field. Only has a few more to go. The front 4 are the only drivers left to fall to Alex Barroso. And Coutillo and Alessandrini are coming. They've closed in that gap on O'Gorman by about 0.8 of a second this lap.
Yeah, not surprised at all. Is Coutillo with DJ in his mirrors is probably like, oh, well, I guess I got no choice now but to put the hammer down and not make a mistake. He's flying.
Into the braking zone for the chicane. Alessandrini had that car shuffling across the surface, didn't really turn in like he wanted it to. Oh, big dive on Coutillo, but he's kind of late apexing this final corner. Coutillo drives away through the middle of it.
And they're all going to have a BMW Z4 on their tail going into 1.
That's Alex Barroso, the GT3 leader, and I'm not concerned about Barroso. It's when the rest of the GT3s get here that's going to make this fight interesting.
That'll be somewhere coming out of turns 4 or 5, I think.
Barroso around the outside, leveraging the slightly extra downforce. He's going to cross over the 82 down the inside for turn 3. And we'll have the
Very
spot.
smart move for Barroso there to not waste too much time, get stuck behind them, just split those guys and get out of there.
Job well done, but here come the rest of the GT3 field. Yager's way out over the edge of the grass, pulls back on. Cobb is slightly behind. And I'm going to ride on board with Cobb here as we make our way through the TCR leaders.
Yeah, Cobb's got to get aggressive as well, because we already know that Yager's already got the aggression meter all the way to 11. Cobb's got to match him.
And they are faster than Barroso, or at least they've gained time on Barroso, so they got to make quick work of this. They gotten by everybody but Tom O'Gorman, and they should have a pretty easy run by Tomo here. Oh, Cobb off in the dirt. Around the outside of Tom O'Gorman. Oh, Cobb had to lift for a moment to go around Tom. But he's through.
So dicey through there. Knowing that both these battles matter, both the TCR and the GT3 battles, to see them kind of mix there is just a tense moment.
Tom had to hold the wheel a bit tight to the apex as Jeff Arroyan, fourth in GT3, went on by. And that let Catil and Alessandrini kind of build a run. And DJ's been very content running behind Catil here. And they're going to try to work together to catch Tom O'Gorman. They've got 5 minutes to get there.
Is he pushing him?
He was. A little bit of bump drafting. Oh, he's sliding out of control. And he somehow stays on the track, still sliding. Now he's in the grass. And a couple GT3s get by him. And now DJ's got his own work cut out for him.
And he's going to have Bradley Adams on his tail here as he comes around the final corner onto the front straight. He's going to have to build it all back again and try and catch Catil. But I didn't quite see what happened there. He just sort of lost it under braking into the chicane.
Yeah, just got a little bit sideways and he caught it once and then it slipped again as they went through the corner. And that's what got him out of control. So, Catil has to catch Tom O'Gorman all by himself. That's a 1.7 second gap. Meanwhile, in GT3, 4-second gap for Barroso. Patrick Gallagher and Dukic right in front of TCR leader Tom O'Gorman. This is for 5th in class.
We've seen Gallagher in a big battle with O'Gorman in the first race when Gallagher was running in the AMG. Now turning over to the BMW Z4, trying to fend off Dukic in the AMG.
Catil has made a bunch of ground on Tom O'Gorman. It's now 1.2 seconds. That's half a second gained in the first couple sectors of this track. There goes, I believe, that is the 20... Let's see what car that is. The Audi that just went by. The 7th place car. That's Andrew Rasmussen. He had to lift to follow Tom O'Gorman through the Schumacher S. 8-11 of Gil Whittingham going on by.
Just so dicey sometimes. And you think, okay, he's going to gain on him, and all of a sudden some GT3 car gets stuck in between them, and these guys have to lift a little bit, and half a second, 3/4 of a second just goes on by.
1.2 seconds is still the gap in the TCR lead. 3 minutes to go. Alex Barroso comes across the line. This should be 2 laps to go this time by. And Barroso's still got a 4.3 second gap over the number 130. Then it's another second back to Cobb. 2.3 back to Arroyan in 4th.
Lead though, O'Gorman now over Catil at 1.3 as they come out of the chicane onto the front straight.
It's Vincent Cernuto that had to lift as Tomo slid out to track out. And Vincent was going to try to squeeze out the outside but thought better of it and had to lift. This is where Eric's a little bit better down in the braking for turn 1. He's 1 second back. Can he close it all? A little bit of a hesitation to get back on throttle, but he's closing. It's just, I don't know if he's got enough time unless Tom makes a mistake.
Yeah, and I think he's quicker through this whole carousel, so we'll see if he's able to take advantage of that and maybe take a couple tenths out before they come out of turn 5.
8 tenths
onto that
out.
short straight.
That's closing slightly.
Oh yeah.
No change in anything GT3, so our battle right now is watching 1st and 2nd in TCR. Wow, big gain for Catil through here. He's out of control, slipping and sliding, but he's caught Tom O'Gorman. And Tom's actually defending.
Did Tom get a course cut?
Could be. He slowed way up.
He caught him. Yeah, he caught him like he was standing still.
And now the battle's on. Next time by will be white flag for both categories. And Catil putting pressure on Tom O'Gorman now. buzz of the rumble strips reverberating in the cockpit here as he closes on Tomo. He's going to move over to driver's right as Tom stays defensive. Now swings back to the left, dive on the brakes. Is he there? Yes, but he has to back out.
No position there. Now that we saw this before, where Catil had a run, went track left. Tom shut the door, made Eric kind of go to the grass, and Eric had to venture to the grass and had to make up all that ground, which he now has. This time I think he's going to wait until the last lap before trying that move again.
White flag in the air for GT3 leader Alex Barroso. He's got a big lead. And as Tomo and Catil work their way through the chicane, they're coming to the white flag, so about a lap and a quarter to go for these drivers.
I think Eric's going to try two different things. He's going to try him probably somewhere in the middle of that carousel around the 2, 3, 4. He may try different lines, either a tighter line or wider line, to see if he can poke his head around through there, or maybe coming out of the Dunlop curve at the far end.
Catil was 0.2 quicker on the, actually, no, I correct that. He was 0.7 quicker on that lap, so he's good enough to beat Tomo. It's just all about setting up the pass here.
So he's taking a real wide line there. Try and do something here. If he can hug left and get a real good late apex.
Oh, he's so close. I think he's setting up for a move on the back straightaway. You don't want to give Tom a chance to fight back.
And that's the thing is, too, yeah, you almost want to make the move as late as you can, but you don't want to run out of opportunities for yourself.
Quickly jumping back to the GT3 fight for second place, Yager and Austin Cobb separated by 0.2 seconds. They're way behind Alex Barroso, but this is still being hotly contested as they head into the final stages of this lap. Barroso is going to round the final corner. He's going to collect the race 2 victory. And the 130 and 9 are going to duke it out to the final corner. Cobb's loose and out of control. He crashes in the final corner. Here comes Jeff Roy into the outside. He's going to pass him. And it looks like Cobb's going to have to reverse across the start-finish line. Get anything done. And he will finish.
It's unfortunate for Cobb there.
4th place. Meanwhile, in TCR, Tom O'Gorman and Eric Catil by half a second. That's the separation. A little far back, but we saw last race the separation heading into the chicane was about a half second. We saw them duke it out to the end, so I don't think we're done.
We've seen Catil get good runs off of this corner before. I don't know if it's as good as he has the last time through. He's going to have to get a great shot through the chicane to be right on Tom's tail into the final corner. Oh, no way, no way. He's off the track, cuts the chicane, and he misses braking point. Yeah, here comes DJ up the inside, and he's going to try to steal away second place, but not close enough. Oh, he might. With that secondary slide, he might get there.
Eric has to give up some time before the end of the race, but Tom O'Gorman wins the event in the TCR category. Catil second, Alessandrini third, Adams fourth, Pennington comes across the line in 5th for TCR.
Oh, that TCR race was so good.
Yeah, that was. We got to go back and watch Catil. He just chucked it in there for everything it was worth, but it's not going to work here. Another look.
Yeah, at some point you'll learn that the limits of adhesion do exist.
He tried. Can't say he didn't.
Yeah. Threw the kitchen sink at it. Didn't quite work. Great run for Tom there. I mean, he essentially led virtually start to finish there in TCR. Lots of battling, lots of pressure on him, was able to kind of hang on there. So great run for Tom there. And Barroso didn't have to talk about him very much because he stayed in the lead, had some pressure early from Yager on his tail, and Barroso was able to pick through traffic in GT3, and I'd say almost made it look easy.
Looking at a replay real quick of Derek King and Miles Gilsinger. This was a last corner battle, and Gilsinger slipped up the inside and ended up beating Derek King back to the line by 1.5 seconds. That was a really good battle coming across the line defensively for Gilsinger, but really good racing all around, and that is going to do it. That's the end of the whole thing. Larry, we're done. That was it.
Oh, I'm sad.
What a great series this is. What a spectacular group of drivers. Some really impressive racing tonight. Also some pushing and shoving between the podium drivers in GT3 in this race.
A little bit. Might be a good thing this is virtual racing and they're not actually coming out of cars with helmets on right next to each other. They're in their own homes tonight.
Be coming out of a car with a baseball bat.
Yeah, let them cool off in separate corners before they maybe they can go out and have a beer later on or something. They definitely tangled a little bit tonight, and it's good racing, good to watch. Really exciting.
Absolutely. We're going to be back in just a minute to talk to the drivers. Stay with us. We'll be right back for interviews. Welcome back live to Sim TV and the Grid Life iRacers Sports Car Sprint. We're here now with Brad Adams, who finished 4th in race 2 in TCR. But Brad, you won race number 1. Kind of a wild ending there. Just walk us through that first race and the battle you had there with, I believe that was Denny Hagford in the number 25.
Correct. Yeah, I was pretty much behind him the whole race. And I got a run on him coming out of that little chicane for the last corner, got by him. And then he was better than me off the last corner, so he got a run into turn 1. I didn't fight him too hard, but I kind of outbraked myself. So then set up the last lap. I didn't think I was going to have a shot, and I don't know what he did, but I got a massive run through there, and I stayed far right as I could. He just kept coming and coming and coming, and I was like, I'm not slowing down. This freight train is chugging, and he kept coming. I kind of felt bad. I slowed down. I saw DJ coming. I was like, I can't let DJ win this one.
The traffic out there is pretty wild when the GT3s came on through. How much are you looking out through the mirror, especially in corners like turn 1 where you have to kind of focus on that apex? So how much are you looking in the mirror and how much are you focusing out front when those GT3 cars come screaming through?
It's honestly not bad, my opinion. It's not, sorry, it's not like crap too. I got a head cold. The front runners aren't bad at all. It's actually some of the guys towards the back. Like in that first race, Danny and I, a couple times, the person would be by themselves in GT3, and they would just throw themselves in front of me at the apex. And it didn't happen that much in race 2, but race 1, it seemed like it happened like 3 or 4 times.
Brad, congratulations. A victory for you in TCR in race 1 tonight and a top 5 in race number 2. So it was a pleasure talking to you, and hopefully we'll see you at NCM Motorsports Park in April. Very excited to be down there with you, and thanks for chatting.
I will say the win's cool, but running 4th in that second race with Tom, Eric, and DJ, that's cooler than winning, to be honest. I mean, those dudes are slayers, so they've taught me a lot in this game, so props to them.
Awesome, Brad. Have a great night. We'll talk to you later.
You too. Thank you.
Absolutely. Alex Barroso, he won race number 2, and if I take a look at the point standings, I believe, yes, you've also won the championship for the Grid Life iRacers Sports Car Sprint. Alex, some pretty wild races out there tonight, but race 2, we were able to kind of get away from all the chaos. Walk us through both races tonight.
Yeah, another 2 great races. It kind of mirrored last week's race. Race 1, just kind of following Austin. Never really got a good run. He got some good breaks in traffic. Not quite as chaotic as last week, unfortunately. We only lapped the TCRs 1 time, which I was a little bit bummed about. But yeah, great race. Race 1 just followed Austin for a while, and then race 2 came around, and somehow I magically found the pace in qualifying again. And kind of surprised. I didn't quite have the ultimate pace, it seemed like, of the guys behind, but I caught 1 or 2 really good breaks in traffic and just was able to check out from there and kind of run my own race. Luckily, that's 4 pretty mistake-free races this season so far in a row, so I'm really happy with that.
I want to talk to you a little bit about the traffic because they got pretty hectic out there. It's a pretty short race, only 20 minutes. So how urgent is it to get through the pack when you have guys like Yager and Arroyan and Cobb and all charging from behind? So how much pressure is on you to make those passes quickly, and how much pressure is there to make them cleanly?
Yeah, you're really weighing your options real quick. You might make quite a few more risky passes than you would in, say, even a 40-minute race, twice as long, just because you're trying to build a gap. If you can get lucky, make it through a gap. Can you hear me right here?
I got you.
Yeah. Okay, sorry about that. If you can make it through a gap there and build a 1 second gap on another guy, it's huge in a 20-minute race, because there may be a chance that they can't make that up or you don't hit traffic again. So especially when we're coming through the leaders of TCR, that might be the time to make the riskiest move, because you might not hit traffic again. So yeah, it's really just picking and choosing your battles, but you're definitely going to make some riskier moves in a short race like that.
Alex, congratulations. Championship holder now in the Grid Life iRacers Sports Car Sprint. Thanks for talking to us, and it was a really impressive season. So glad to see you on top, and we'll see you around again.
Thank you so much, guys. Hope we do another multi-class like this. It was a blast.
Absolutely, Alex. Have a great night.
You as well. Thanks.
All right, Larry, I think that'll probably wrap it up. Again, so I think it was Barroso that won the GT3 category. Paul Darling finished second even after missing this week. Austin Cobb third. He'll end up with the bronze trophy after tonight.
Yeah, it says a lot about Darling and the pace that he would have had to be able to finish second and not even race at all this week. But Barroso, these last 2 weeks, just put a clinic on how to be consistent, winning 2 out of the 4 races in the 2 weeks, being second in the other 2 races. Tonight, just keeping his nose clean, picking his way through traffic, like you said. Be careful where you take that risk and when you make that aggressive move. And the smart comment there about when you're past the TCR leaders, that's your last gas to get by, because it's clear track after that. So be a little more aggressive on that move. Smart way to think about that and to plan those moves ahead. And he kept building and building that gap, ends up winning by over 4 seconds. Smart way to drive, and the dude's fast, and he's going to have a lot of people jumping into BMW Z4s if we do this again with GT3 cars. Absolutely. The cool thing about Grid Life, again, as we close out another season of action in the Grid Life iRacers Championship, is a lot of these guys, most of these guys, have track cars and compete in the real world. I know Tom O'Gorman, of course, with the IMSA experience and Michelin Pilot Challenge. Eric Catil works on a Michelin Pilot Challenge team, also competes in Grid Life Touring Cup. DJ Alessandrini, another Grid Life Touring Cup competitor. Max Lupfer as well. So it's really cool to see these guys jump over during the winter months into the sim and get some experience running with each other. It's a lot of fun. Larry, I want to thank you for joining us again, for joining us all 4 weeks, really, for helping me commentate, and hopefully I'll have you back again.
and I look forward to seeing you around. Appreciate you helping.
Appreciate the opportunity, Kyle. This has been a lot of fun. I love watching these races. This is just super exciting. These are world-class drivers. These guys know what they're doing. They know how to fight traffic. They know how to fight with each other and put on a good show. SimTV, you guys have put on a wonderful product. This has been a blast. I'm hoping to do the next season of Grid Life here in a few weeks when we do it again.
Absolutely. I do. Before we sign off for the night, I do want to also recognize that NASCAR, the NASCAR YouTube channel, has joined us in chat, and as they did last week for the Fuel Premiere Series. We want to thank him again for jumping in here and saying hi, NASCAR, so hi back. Thanks for watching SimTV, and we'll hopefully be around again for future races. They just finished up their Coca-Cola series tonight, so I got to go back and watch that now. But thank you again for everybody for watching. Make sure you subscribe, and we'll see you tomorrow night for the return of the Washington, D.C. Region SCCA iRacing League. This time it'll be at the Charlotte Roval with the Skip Barber car. We'll see you tomorrow night, 8:25 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thanks for watching. Have a great night.